Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10, Episode 13, Queens Reunited. Okay, this is the reunion episode of Season 10. Again, for those of you who don't know, this is my first season watching it, so I never know what to expect. This one felt sort of like a Housewives reunion to me. They're all sitting around and Ru is in the middle, asking questions, kind of guiding the thing along. We start by talking about the Vanjie phenomenon, and Ru asks Vanessa, Vanjie Mateo, did you plan that? And could you have had any idea how big it was going to get? Well, the thing is, she didn't plan it at all. She said, I didn't plan my exit phrase because I didn't think I was going home. So I didn't have one yet. So she just, Miss Vanjie. She just said her name over and over again when she left. And it was weird and freaky, and it blew up all over social media and became bigger than life. Ms. Cracker said it's like the gay aloha. It means hello, goodbye, and thank you. We talk about how great Monet's lip sync for your life was against Dusty Ray Bottoms, that one where she just was amazing, and she did that like fake out like she was going to do the death drop and didn't, and then like she was so funny and it was so good. I thought that Dusty kind of threw a little shade at Monet. She said, I knew that Nicki Minaj was sort of in Monet's wheelhouse and not mine, so almost like she was already at a disadvantage, but that's not why you went home, okay? We talk about Monique not knowing the words to her song for her lip sync battle. Ru asked her why she didn't know the words, and she said, because I was working on my costume all night. Okay. And then Ru said, do you think it was worth it? And she's like, well, obviously not. We talk about Aquaria's comment after the double save for Eureka and Cameron. Again, I didn't think it was that bad in the first place, that she felt bad that it was a double save. I understood that completely. It's a competition, and when two other people are up for elimination, you want one of them to go home because that brings you closer to the finals. Anyway, she explained it further by saying, that was a week that I thought I didn't do well and I wasn't in the bottom. And I've never known a season to have two double saves. So she thought that if I don't do good next week, I would like that to be the week that has the double save. She didn't even have to say all that because I understood her in the first place. I got you, boo. We talk about the vixen stirring the pot between Aquaria and Ms. Cracker. And why did she do that? Why did she insert herself in that dispute? And she said, because Aquaria was really backpedaling, and I knew what she said about Ms. Cracker behind her back. According to the vixen, she said that Monet and Aquaria, who are both from New York, as is Ms. Cracker, we're talking about Ms. Cracker as though she didn't belong in this competition. And the vixen said, then when it got brought up in front of Ms. Cracker, Aquaria was backing off, and I didn't think she should, so the vixen told her, no, don't do that, that's not what you said, and you didn't think she should be here, and all that kind of thing. Okay, still none of your business, the vixen. But Cracker and Aquaria seemed to think that they kind of moved on from that. The Cracker said, we didn't have like a big hugging it out moment, but Aquaria and I are like sisters in that we resent each other. Then she says, we didn't vixen it out. And then Ru said, are you using that is a verb? The vixen's name is a verb? And she said, oh yeah. It's sort of like if you don't get everything you wanted in your order and you say, oh, I'm going to have to go back and vixen this bitch. Even the vixen kind of laughed at that. That moves into the fight between the vixen and Eureka. And the vixen is clearly still very upset about that. And the vixen says she doesn't regret anything she said. Eureka does admit that she regrets how she handled certain things, but Eureka said she did try to apologize. The vixen said that what happened was after this big argument, Eureka came to her when they were in the studio before they went, I guess, on air again. Eureka said to the vixen, so how do you want to handle this? Like making up. it felt like it was disingenuous to the vixen. Like, this is, how are we gonna have our making up on camera? So the vixen made this sort of mental note that I'm not going to trust her from now on, because she didn't think the apology was real. This is all so much for the show. But ultimately, it was something that RuPaul said that made Vixen walk off the show. RuPaul said to her, you are in control of how you react to something. And I think a couple of the other girls were saying that too. And the Vixen's like, wait, you're all telling me how I should have reacted, but none of you are telling Eureka how she should have acted in the first place. That's what was wrong. I kind of understood that. Asia, for the record, was kind of sticking up for the Vixen. Ru points out to the Vixen, but you said you were here to fight everybody. And she said, I did, but I never started a fight. And then Ru said, well, what about between Ms. Cracker and Aquaria? And she said, I was just speaking the truth. Ru said, yeah, but you didn't have to say anything. That didn't even involve you. You could have stayed quiet. And she said, so you're getting the truth out there. You knew that was going to agitate Ms. Cracker and get her mad at Aquaria, and you instigated something that you didn't have to. So that's kind of like starting a fight. Well, the Vixen didn't like that. And maybe especially because it came from RuPaul, I don't know. But the Vixen just said, well, I came here today for my fans, for the people that look up to me, for the people that have written me and tell me that I've changed their lives or whatever. So I came here to thank my fans, and I'm out. You all have a good night. And she walked off. And there was a, wait, Vixen, don't. But she never came back. And when we come back from a commercial break, RuPaul mentions that she has chosen to stay gone. And does anybody want to talk about that before we move on to other things? Well, Asia wanted to talk about it, and Asia got really upset. She seemed to be taking the position that they all should have been more compassionate and that the Vixen is just kind of crying out for help. But RuPaul's position was she doesn't want help. You can't help somebody that keeps fighting you and won't meet you halfway. And, what else would you have us do, is basically what RuPaul was saying. I think Asia was more upset with herself, maybe, that she was still sitting there and didn't go running after her. I'm not sure. RuPaul, again, was trying to explain that, with her, it was like a one-way street. She wanted to have the last word and stalk off, and that's what she did. We couldn't get her back, and there's no talking to somebody like that. Asia's crying, and she said, but we let one of our sisters just walk off, and that's not what we're about. Ru said, do you think there was anything that we could have said that would make her stay? And Asia said, not say, but do. And Ru said, well, what could we have done? But ultimately, Asia had no answer for that, and there really was nothing they could have done. So we move on. Now this is just this whole montage of the sad backstories. And I gotta tell you, I could barely get through them the first time. So I really didn't need to be like bawling my eyes out a second time, but we go back over Dusty Ray Bottom's story of the horrific conversion therapy that her parents made her go through. Just cringeworthy. We see Monique Hart's story. That was during Untucked, and I hadn't been reviewing Untucked. That was, again, very religious mother, still can't really talk to her about being a drag queen. And of course we have to go through Blair, sweet Blair St. Clair's story again. What was interesting was now we learned that one of her coping mechanisms to get through this before she talked about it, in fact, she just told her mom about it a couple weeks after she talked about it on the show. But she said that she turned to alcohol. So I guess she's sober now since coming off of Drag Race, and everyone was clapping and happy for her. But these stories are heartbreaking to me, and I just, as a human being, I don't understand. I think because I'm probably the age of like their moms, I'm thinking of this as their mother and how I could never not have my child in my life for being who they are. So from that aspect, it feels very unbelievable to me. you know, listen, we are all products of our upbringing, so I'm not dissing anybody. I'm just saying that for me, it tears my heart open because I think of if it were my child. And I can't imagine a scenario where I would not want my child to be their true, authentic self, you know? Moving on to when Ms. Cracker was eliminated and Asia said that she did not have the star quality. That hurt Ms. Cracker a lot. It was a demon that Ms. Cracker was already wrestling with for a long time because she didn't believe in herself, because in New York City there are so many drag clubs that she fought her way into to be a part of, and she's always felt like she had to work so hard to earn her place. And then here was somebody telling her, you don't deserve to be here. So she took it real hard. Asia, you know, to be fair, Asia did say she was sorry she said that. And she apologized again. And then Ms. Cracker was kind of tough on her, I thought. She said, okay, but just know this, it'll never happen again. I thought, wow, okay. All right, back off, Cracker. She's so tough now. All right, now they get to ask each other some questions, and Mayhem asks Asia and Aquaria why they said behind her back that her drag didn't have the wow factor, because I guess that hurt her feelings. You know, all these people that are off the show and watching the episodes have all this time to get like offended and upset, right? They both basically say the same thing, which is that they were fans of Mayhem before this show even started, and then I think that they were a little maybe disappointed in person, but they were sorry and they shouldn't have said it behind her back, but they didn't really feel they knew her well enough to say it to her face. I don't know. I don't know that Mayhem got satisfaction from those answers. This was interesting. Monique Hart said, I have a question for Cameron about how different she is on social media, where she can just pop off on everybody, and on the show she's sweet and shy and quiet. And then Dusty Ray Bottoms kind of jumps on that and calls her out for not being friendly and saying, listen, I would walk into a room and you wouldn't even look at me, and I'd have to say, hi, Cameron. I'd have to like look you right in the face to get you to acknowledge me. And none of the other girls were like that. Everybody says hi to each other, talks to each other. And then even Monet kind of chimes in on it too. And Monet is sitting behind Cameron, and Monet starts to say like her experience with Cameron not being friendly to her or whatever. Monique stops her and goes, right there, what was that? What's that all about, Cameron? That face you just made. And here's the thing, guys, I caught it too. It wasn't exactly an eye roll, but it was kind of like a, you know, and this is not our sweet little Cameron. I found this very telling and very interesting. And I don't follow any of them on social media, so I don't know what Cameron's like on social media. Now we get to the part of the show where they get to all read each other. Calorie can't wait to go first, but it doesn't really go so well for Calorie because I think she ends up getting the brunt of this read. Anyway, Calorie goes first, and it's for Vanjie. How does it feel to have a catchphrase last longer on Drag Race than you did? And Vanjie said, well, at least I'm glad I have a catchphrase. And who are you again? Oh, Calorie, ouch. What did you think she was gonna say? And she's right. Mayhem's was terrible. It was to Eureka. You say, Eureka, I found it. When are you gonna find that it's time to shut up? Or it was really bad. Monet's was funny. She said, I thought that the Vixen and Eureka's fight was going to be the fight of the season. But no, Yuha fighting the English language every week was the fight of the season. Oh, side note, I can't figure out what these queens are dressed up for. It's weird. They aren't just dressed in like pretty drag. Like Yuhua is in a scary ghost kind of a witch costume sort of thing. Monique Hart is dressed up like popcorn. I don't know if that's supposed to be like, you know, like I'm just gonna sit here and eat popcorn and watch the fight going on. I don't know if that's what she was referencing, but if not, I don't really get it. Aquaria was dressed like a little cowboy in this tiny little wig, and it's just, I don't know. I didn't get it. Cameron had like a bone thing on her head. Eureka was dressed like Cinderella. There was no sort of rhyme or reason to anything. I thought it was very weird. If any of you guys know, let me know in the comments like what the girls were dressed for. Were they in the middle of something? Okay, so this show ends with RuPaul asking each of the queens, of the 4 that are left, who do you think should win this season? And I found the results to be very interesting. Mayhem thought that Aquaria should win. Calorie thought that Eureka should win. Dusty Ray Bottoms picked Aquaria. Yuhua picked Eureka. Monique Hart thought Asia should win. Ms. Cracker thought Eureka should win. Ms. Cracker's was kind of funny because she was pointing, they were each in a row, Aquaria, Asia, Cameron, and Eureka, and she went, came for me, sent me home, Eureka. Blair St. Clair thought that Asia should win. Monet Exchange thought Asia should win. And Vanjie thought that Eureka should win. So that was 2 votes for Aquaria, 4 votes for Eureka, 3 votes for Asia, and nobody thought that Cameron should win. Is there something I don't know about shy, quiet Cameron? It's super interesting to me that none of these girls really liked Cameron. I don't know. Do you think it's nothing more than jealousy, or is she really unfriendly? She did say that she's not really a drag queen. She was a hairdresser who applied for this show and got on the show and almost was scared that she got picked. So maybe it is a matter of her not feeling like she's part of the community. I don't know. Anyway, next week is the finale. I can't believe it. And from looking at previews, it looks like it's this very intense lip sync for your life competition going on there. I don't know if that's going to be the whole show or not, but I'm excited. I cannot wait. Again, let me know who you guys think is going to win. I want to know who you think is going to win, and I want to know who you want to win and if that's different. All right, you guys, that's it for me. Please subscribe to Jill Informed if you haven't already. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you would like to be notified whenever I post a new video, please click on that bell. I hope I see you guys next Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Time for the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10. Bye-bye.